Hey y'all, my name is Priscilla and welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to do a quick video talking about two of the nonfiction memoirs that I recently read for Nonfiction November. They were both really impressive reads for different reasons and they're very fresh in my mind, so I kind of just want to have more people read them. They are both written by authors of color. They're both, I think, debuts by these authors, and they are both eligible for a lot of book awards for next year. So for the Book 2 prize for nonfiction, they're both nominated for the Goodreads Awards for memoirs. So I just want to see more people read them, vote for them, praise them, enjoy them as much as I did. Also, side note, I am outside again, so I don't know if that's going to be an issue with the lighting or the look of this video, but hopefully you're okay with it. Hopefully, if you like it a lot, you won't mind if I go back inside and film by my bookshelves, but that's what we're doing today. So the first book that I want to talk about is called How We Fight for Our Lives by Saeed Jones. This is an author that I first heard about, I think, by Yvette over at Book Cave when she mentioned reading his poetry for the Queer Lit Readathon. Jones is a queer Black man originally from Louisville, Texas. So this memoir is a coming of age of Saeed Jones growing up as a queer Black man, as a queer Black boy, from a very religious upbringing. There is a lot of discussion of the relationship with his grandmother, for instance, who, when he was growing up, they went to church together a lot, and who you can imagine was not very happy when she found out he was gay, and when he came out, and when he didn't want to go to church anymore. There is a lot of discussion of the sexuality, the fetishization, and the underlying racism that is involved anytime you are a gay Black man seeking love. And there's a lot of raw, vulnerable, very graphic depictions of his sex life. So that is something you might want to be aware of before going in. But I thought it was a very smart way, a smart lens to look at racism and Blackness and the proximity of those things in his life and his experience has been something that would elicit that it was more of a death sentence than anything else, because separately, being Black or gay, those things are hazards, but together he mentions that they are pretty much a death sentence. And it also talks about his love of writing and how whenever he sought out a mentor or found someone new, another Black gay man to look up to, shortly afterwards he would find out that this man probably died of AIDS. And that's kind of hard to see as a young person, that someone you look up to and just everyone else that exists like you has been sentenced to death. So this story is very much about how Jones has taken that death sentence that has been given to him for merely existing and turning his body into a weaponized weapon, a lethal weapon instead. And I think he does that very well with his very sharp and fierce writing. This book is also a love letter to his single Black mother, who he describes as being very pretty and evolving into elegance. And I won't get into too much about that because it is a bit of a spoiler. A lot of that is detailed in the latter half of the book, but just wonderful, wonderful love letter of detailing of grief and love and admiration that he had for his mother and has for his mother. So Jones really pours his heart and soul into this book. It's one of those memoirs that you read and you can just, I can't even imagine what kind of process he went through to put this book out there, to write this. It's left such a searing impression on me. Jones, like I said, is a poet. That definitely comes across. I don't know how the actual physical visual text looks because I listened to the audiobook, which is narrated by Jones, and it sounds like he weaves poetry within the prose just seamlessly, flawlessly, with great impact. And that's why I highly recommend that you read this book. While this book does discuss a lot of pain, a lot of suffering that comes from his mere existence, I think that this writing is very cathartic as well and is on the road to healing and has a uplifting, healing, cathartic message in it as well. So highly recommend you pick up Saeed Jones. Okay, so the next book that I want to talk about is called Know My Name by Chanel Miller. This was a very highly anticipated memoir for me, and I wasn't disappointed. it's probably going to be one of my top books of 2019, to be quite honest, and it's going to be really hard to try and talk about this book right now. But this is the book about the woman formerly known as Emily Doe in the Brock Turner rape case that happened, I think, in 2016, 2015. And this is her tell-all of the events that led up to the trial itself, and the aftermath. And it is so well written. It's very intelligent. It's heartfelt and direct, and I think it's one of those really, really important books that a lot of people should read to understand the feelings of victims, and that victims are more than the sum of their traumas. So of course there's going to be a lot of trigger warnings in this when I'm talking about it, because you just can't escape when there's a rape trial. There's going to be a lot of sexual assault, a lot of rape, and a lot of depression in this book, so be mindful of that. I remember the day that Emily Doe's letter went viral on Twitter. I saw it on Twitter, and it was posted on BuzzFeed, and it was a 12-page letter detailing how this trial, how this event, how Brock Turner affected her. And it was one of those things and moments in history that I'll remember exactly where I was. It made me cry. And I knew that when her memoir was going to come out, when she revealed herself, that she was going to write a damn good book. So Chanel Miller is biracial. She is Chinese American. And I remember when her identity was revealed, not being surprised that she was a woman of color, and that the judge in this sentencing sympathized and empathized more with Brock Turner than a victim, than a woman of color. So she details the night of the attack. It feels like a very hazy recollection of that attack because of, because she was unconscious and doesn't remember a lot of it, but you really feel that. In the book, in the writing, you feel like you're with her, and she details what it's like to take a rape kit, and how she slowly started to put the pieces together herself. A lot of how she found out what happened was things that she found out by chance, articles that came out when the DA and the defense attorney submitted and it was made public. That was how she found out digital penetration was even a part of the case, and she had to Google a lot of these terms that she was encountering for the first time. A lot of that just felt very visceral and very raw to read, and it's just so ridiculous to me how much, although Brock Turner is the one that was on trial, the one that was convicted by a unanimous vote by a jury, how he was the one on trial, but it was very much Chanel that was also on trial. Her character, her personhood, her humanity was dissected, was spit out, and she, in most cases, wasn't able to defend herself. Very cut off by the defense. And I know most trials are like this, but it's just very eye-opening to read about the experiences that she had. And it's even more ridiculous to think that Brock Turner only ended up serving 3 months in prison. That's a slap in the face, and I can't even imagine what that feels like, to have justice fail you again and again. Yeah, there's even a part in this where she's doubted just so many times, not only by the justice system, but by people that read her impact statement and thought that, oh, Emily Doe could have never written this. Victims couldn't do this, as if victims are only the sum of their traumas and are not more than that. It's very clear that she can write. She was meant to write. Her mother is Chinese and is a published author in Chinese, I believe. And you know, victims are more than their traumas, and I think that this book really beautifully illustrates that. Outside of all the heavier topics, there's also just a lot of hope and that spark of creativity and of setting boundaries and of understanding yourself at the deepest level. She had a lot of support throughout the trial, after the trial. She kind of used her Swedes, the two men that intervened in the event, as her guardian angels, and that's proof that there are good people out in the world. So I really, really just love this book. It's written so well. It's also left a very great impression on me, and I hope that if you're able to read books with that sort of triggering content, that you are able to pick this up and like it. And like it is such a strange word when you talk about books like this, but enjoy it, and maybe admire it as much as I do. So those are the two memoirs that I read back to back and that I just adored with a lot of my being, and I hope that now you are inspired to pick them up. If you have read them, of course, please leave comments down below. I would love to hear from you. But that's all I have for this video, so thank you so much for watching, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Bye!